Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa, No Filler. As you can see, I am back in the more regular, purpley kind of background. It makes it look a little bit like I'm a side character in Grand Theft Auto or something. Maybe run a sleazy nightclub in Miami, where I can get you free VIP entry to the coolest bar in town. So, not that I could ever do that for anyone, because no one's ever going to be giving me VIP entry to any bars anytime soon. But aside from that, Happy New Year 2024. I tell you what, 2023 was pretty good, wasn't it? What a calendar year that was. Second best team in all of England with points racked up behind only the best team in the world, Manchester City. That is an absolutely incroyable achievement. What a time to support Aston Villa. And it all started a year ago today when we went to Tottenham Hotspur and we won 2-0 thanks to Buendia. Can't wait to see him back from injury and deadly Douglas Luiz and beat Tottenham 3 times last year. So we enter 2024. We've just beaten Burnley 3-2. Tough game. And to be honest, I think a big part of why it was such a tough game is because Villa, after a very emotional and physical December in which we got some incredible results and had to exert an incredible amount of energy as well in lots of games that were quite hard, well, very hard. Um, it just kind of feels like Villa looked quite tired, and so to even come through that game and win it in the end, cut it very fine. But I'm happy that I'm delighted we won it. But I'm happy we're through December now because this month, not really that many games, are there? We've got Middlesbrough, we've got Everton away, the Newcastle at home, and then I think that's it. I mean, what was the point in putting all the games in December and then leaving January just like, oh yeah, just take your time out, have a laugh, have a night. What was that all about? Just take one of the games from December, just stick it in January somewhere. But what do I know? I'm a fool. So uh, here we are, start of 2024. What is possible this year? Well, dare to dream. I'm a believer, mate. As Emmy Martinez said, I hope that line becomes an iconic quote at Villa. Hopefully, we can go on and win things, and we can have a banner up at Villa Park that says "I'm a believer, mate," just to celebrate our World Cup winning goalkeeper, one of the greatest players I have ever seen in my life at Aston Villa in Emmy Martinez, a player who has won the World Cup, Copa America. What a talent he is, and he deserves to win stuff at club level with Villa. Now, but can we go on and win the league? Well, if Man City or Liverpool end up going on one of those crazy 10, 11 game winning streaks that they often do, especially with, say, De Bruyne coming back now, I think we'll have done an absolutely astonishing job in winning the league because it means that we will have had to have done something very similar. I think with Villa, I think if you were to question us, you'd go against a low block or a deep lying defense, as it's more traditionally called. We have looked a little bit like the Spanish international team. We don't always, we look a little bit like we have a certain set pattern of passing and play, but we perhaps slightly lack inspiration in those sorts of games at Forest and Sheffield United. And there are going to be other teams that do that to us. I think Burnley did quite well against the High Line the other day as well. I think they were specifically trying very hard to get uh, long balls from deep, and then a winger come in to win a header and knocks it on, and then the striker times the run better. We are going to keep catching loads and loads of people offside, but but I do kind of think that there are going to be uh, teams are going to have adapted better to the High Line in the second half of the season. I think teams will have a better setup for playing Aston Villa in the second half of the season, but we have the quality to overcome that, absolutely. And this is what happens to all teams who are really good. Look, we were the second best team in the country in the whole of the last calendar year. So we are a really excellent football team, and there are teams are going to prepare for us. Now, Sheffield United did very well. Nottingham Forest did well. So I guess you look at that and think, all right, well, when we go to Bramall Lane in just over a month, how are we going to play against that? because they're going to do the same thing there. Are we going to be able to break that down, or is it going to end up like a frustrating day like we had at Forest? And the like same goes for let's say Everton away in a couple of weeks. So I imagine Everton will think long and hard about that 4-0 we gave them earlier this season. Their form had picked up, but they've just gone and lost three in a row, surprisingly, and just got battered at Wolves. They don't have a good record against Villa, so I'm sure they'll desperately want to turn that around. That's going to be hard, but yeah, definitely something to think about. I think in the second half of the season, just how teams try to deal with the high line Villa play and how they set up against us. It'll be very interesting. But the thing is, like I say, I think we have the coaches and I think we have the players to get through the challenge of teams adapting and preparing probably a lot harder for us than they may have done before. That's just one way of looking at it. But no, I'm very excited to see what we do for the rest of this season. Top five is very, very tight, isn't it? My goodness. My goodness. It's like we're all queued up together, squished in, just like all that bashing each other aside, like when you're trying to get into the store, that you've seen there's a 90% sale on at Primark or something, and everyone's just there ready to go. They cut the ribbon, open it, and you're just giving them that, aren't you? Come here, Man City. Come here, Liverpool. Take that, you. Low blow for you, Arsenal. So uh, it's very tight. Tottenham, given their injury crisis, in fairness, have not gone away. Um, I slightly think with Tottenham that you don't quite know what you're going to get, and that they will be one to watch when Maddison and Van der Ven come back. Two absolutely exceptional players. Van der Ven, my goodness, he looked like somebody who could be one of maybe the best defender in the world one day. Whenever I watched him earlier this season, his speed and ability, what a signing from Spurs he is. And Maddison, of course, we all know is a fantastic player. So they're going to make a big difference when they come back for them. Son as well seems like he's on a one-man mission to get Spurs top four. So Spurs are an interesting one to watch, but I also think there's something about them in second halves where they look very vulnerable. Same happened with Bournemouth. I know they won 3-1, but Bournemouth really should have scored a couple of goals, to be honest. Had loads of chances, and I can't help but think that Tottenham are going to have that happen to them a few times this season. And then, of course, they got battered at Brighton last week. But Spurs are an interesting one to watch. Arsenal, of course, have just had a few disappointing results since losing to Villa. They've lost to Fulham and to West Ham at home, very surprisingly. I think, to be honest, that those results, the West Ham and the Fulham results, I think were a little bit December results in the sense, I think what I saw from Arsenal at Fulham reminded me of Villa against Burnley the other day, in that it looked like two teams who have selected the same players quite regularly, who look absolutely just exhausted. Well, not exhausted, but they look tired after a long month with a lot of games packed in. Um, and then when you come up against a side that, the Premier League teams that, they, particularly away from home as well at Fulham, that's a hard place to go. You've got a really good coach, you've got really good players, so they can just catch you out if you're not fully at it. So, but I think Arsenal will come back. I think they'll be fine. But I do just think they've had a few December results. But Villa, that's full credit to Villa that we did. I know we had the United and Sheffield United draw, and the Man United loss, but I think to get through the month with the results we got was fantastic, to be honest, really. And look at us as I'm recording this, currently second in the league, but level on points with top of the league, Liverpool. I mean, absolutely amazing. But we're now in the transfer window as well. Well, interesting, isn't it? Are we going to see signings in January? Well, one argument would be this is a really good chance for Aston Villa to get Champions League football. So is this now an imperative for us to go and gamble and sign someone that can get us over the line? Good luck doing that in January. It is not easy. Very rarely do you sign a player in January that can transform a team. But then again, Aston Villa did do it last January when we signed Alex Moreno for £14 million from Real Betis. What a brilliant signing he proved to be. The report that went out today, and I'm just taking this from Villa Report, super Twitter site. We all love Villa Report. And they are quoting John Percy from The Telegraph, another brilliant journalist. And Villa report, well, John Percy from the Telegraph has said that Aston Villa will target a new forward and a right back with perhaps another attacking option as well. A surprise target could be RB Leipzig attacker Yannick Eduardo. Now, don't even ask me what the hell Yannick Eduardo is. I have no idea. I think he's about 70 years of age. I don't really know anything about him. All I know is I think of the Smith song Panic at the Panic, was it? Panic on the streets of London. I wonder to myself. Morrissey, he's well annoying, any Morrissey. I mean, look, the Smith songs, they have got some great tunes, haven't they? But Morrissey's just insufferable. Anyway, look, how did I get from Yannick Eduardo to Morrissey? Anyway, so with John Percy, a new forward and a right back, perhaps another attacking option. I think we all know that the right back area. I think this was something that came up even in pre-season. We all know the right back area is an area where Villa are. Um, the fact that Ezri Konsa is having to play out there quite a lot is not ideal. I think Ezri Konsa is doing well there, but I think he's our best defensive centre back, if that makes sense. Obviously, Pau Torres is much more attacking fullback, as good as he is a defender as well. But I prefer Konsa to Diego Carlos, if I'm honest. Not to say I don't like Carlos, but I'm just saying I think Konsa's better as a centre back. And Cash at the right. Cash is a very talented player, and I think that Cash is a little bit underrated for how good he is actually as a defender in one-on-one situations. But I think where you would say Cash maybe doesn't quite have that Professor Unai sort of approach is that, with Alex Moreno out left, Moreno's very, very good at beating a man and getting to the byline and then cutting it back. And I think Cash can do that. It's just that particularly when you play against teams that have a low block, as we saw with Nottingham Forest, as we've seen with Cash as well playing further forward at times in right midfield, he's not always looked massively convincing as an attacking fullback. He's not. You wouldn't always trust him to beat a man, and his delivery is not quite as precise as Alex Moreno. Not to say that he hasn't contributed this season going forward, he has, but I think you can see that right back is an area where it'd be good to have more depth. So that if Cash came in out the team, you could always just put another right back in who isn't Konsa, so Konsa can stick in the centre a bit more. I think that makes a lot of sense. And a new forward. That Yannick Eduardo, again, RB Leipzig player. I know nothing about him, so I'm not going to pretend I do. But attacking option. Well, I think, if you're to look at Aston Villa, where would you say are the two areas where I think if we had an injury, it could really impact our running? I think you would say Emi Martinez in goal and Ollie Watkins up front. They are the two positions for me that look interesting. In that, if Ollie gets injured, Yonderan comes in. Yonderan is a very talented player, and one day might be one of the best strikers in the world in world football. But right now, that's not what he is. He's absolute chaos. I love him. He's brilliant, but he's not Ollie Watkins yet, is he? And Emi Martinez, the drop off from Martinez to the sub goalkeepers is very substantial. So they're the two areas you would say better backups would be ideal, but trying to find them in January is not easy. Then again, we've got a very experienced and a very talented sporting director in Monchi. We haven't really seen him yet at Villa. What he does, he's brought in Zaniolo, and that's it. Who I think was largely to cover where we've lost Buendia for probably most of the season. So, the jury's obviously still out on Monchi. We still need to sort of wait and see exactly what profile of play he goes for. But this January, do I think Villa I don't think we'll spend big in January. I don't think so. I don't think many clubs will. I'm struggling to think of a single one who will. Maybe one of the clubs threatened by relegation might really try hard to get someone in for quite a bit of money. And then, I don't know, like a Chelsea or somebody, might go big for an Ivan Toney. Arsenal have FFP issues. I think most clubs in the Premier League are really probably thinking long and hard about FFP and what that means for you know, if you go big now, what does it mean you can do in the summer, really? So, yeah, I don't think this is going to be the most active winter market we've ever seen. But having said that, we'll probably come to the end of it, and you'll find that it's collectively the most amount of money ever spent by Premier League football teams or something mad because someone's going to go sign Ivan Toney for 100 million quid or something absurd. But yeah, so I'd love it if Villa could bring players in. I would love it if we do bring players in. But I think I think we do have a strong squad. It could always improve, of course. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Well, there we go. Happy New Year. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. As always, as I say, subscribe down there if you want Aston Villa to beat Birmingham City 10-0 the next time we play them. If you don't, you want Birmingham City to win. I'm only joking. Of course you don't. But look, yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. Up the mighty Villa.